So Hyman Minsky was a consultant for the Commission on Money and Credit between 1956 to 1961, working at UC Berkeley. And um, during that time, there had been a recent recession that the um, the economy is recovering from, and so banks were lending very conservatively, and then most of those loans were getting paid back. And so they said, okay, so I guess we can, take a little bit riskier loans, take a little bit bigger of a chance. And then those loans got paid off, and so they increased the risk. And so Hyman Minsky was watching this, and he was like, aha, financial stability leads to financial instability. And this goes against what has generally been the more common theory of markets, which is called the efficient market hypothesis, which basically says that the financial market inherently tends toward equilibrium, and it's only exogenous activity like changes in government policy or events abroad or whatnot that are what changes markets. And it's basically saying that markets are changed from outside the market, whereas Minsky was showing that actually it's the market is composed of human beings with their own expectations, and that people are influenced by, and that the market is influenced by expectations. And so, and it's like if a stock goes up, people will say, this is a good stock, it's rising, I'm going to invest in it, and it'll go up even more and more. But then, eventually the stock crashes, and people will say, oh God, I gotta sell. And so so stock prices doesn't necessarily reflect, an individual, a bunch of individuals independently coming to the conclusion about what the stock is doing. It's actually their choices in terms of investing are influenced by what other investors are doing. And that's what the efficient market hypothesis leaves out, is that behavior is influenced by the behavior of others. Basically, the stock market, there's a big herd mentality in the stock market. But anyway, Minsky was also a student of Irving Fisher's debt deflation hypothesis, which was basically that during a boom, businesses, on the borrowing side, businesses will lend from these banks, and try to grow their company, and as long as the economy is doing good, then those loans will pay off, and they'll be able to pay back those loans because business is good. But eventually, the debt gets so large that it can't be paid off anymore, and then you have what's often called a Minsky moment, where all this debt comes crashing down, and there's all this deleveraging, and so then you have what's called debt deflation. And so, what Minsky proposed he basically went to the whole Keynesian arguments about spending our way out of a recession, and then cutting taxes during a boom. But he put a special emphasis on the debt to GDP ratio. He says that you can tell the level of instability in the economy by the debt to GDP ratio. And I want to say that I would go further than him. I think that, first of all, the problem for us is that our monetary system is based on debt. Money is created out of debt by banks, and what we ought to do is eliminate the privilege of banks to create money out of debt. They need to lend out deposits the way that they theoretically are supposed to do. and so the new money should go into the economy from government, by government spending spending money into existence debt free on value creating infrastructure that will help the economy. Um, and you know the yeah, they would of course track inflation and make, and you know, if there's if you know there's some inflation, then they need to cut the to reduce the amount of money creation and increase, you know, taxes, whatnot. But anyway, and furthermore, I think that we ought to actually reduce the role of Wall Street in our economy. I mean, it is true that the stock market drives much of our economy, but it needn't necessarily be that way. I mean, yeah, we need, you know, bank loans, which you get more deposits by having, you know, the governments spend the money debt free in this way. But we can. What we also need to do is cut down on short-term speculation, because I think with stocks we need to differentiate between, you know, short-term speculation is used to make a quick buck and doesn't really contribute much to our economy, versus you know, long-term investment like your 401k or whatnot. And you know, there's this whole thing that happened in the last financial crisis with derivatives, which we unfortunately still haven't taken care of. You know, these financial instruments used to create enormous amounts of money while adding absolutely nothing to the economy. In any case, one proposal that I like is proposed by David Korten in his book "When Corporations Rule the World," where he suggests that we have a depreciating capital gains tax. Basically, what it is say you buy a stock. If you sell that stock within the same year that you bought it, you pay a 50% capital gains tax on it. If you sell it the next year, you pay 40%. If you sell it the next year, you pay 30%. Yeah, then 20% and 10%. Yeah, then eventually nothing at all. And David Korten would, actually didn't go that far. He thought there should always be some capital gains tax on it, and I disagree with that, because I think that the main tax base should be land values and basically what people take out of the commons. But I do agree with using tax policy to correct the incentives in the stock market and influence it more towards long-term investment that actually helps the economy. So I guess that's it for now. Peace.